What are some of the things that have tormented you and driven you to the achievements that you've had?
Sometimes when people tell you you can't do that, watch this.
Yeah.
Out of spite.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to do it to prove you wrong. Was that a good use of my efforts and skills? Probably not. Like, it was for the wrong reasons. Good outcome, but wrong reasons. That definitely played a role into it. And then a lot of, man, that seems challenging and difficult. I wonder if I could do that. Like, I don't know why I want to, but I just wonder if I could. And when I've reflected back, I've never really, until very recently, I've never really projected too far forward, which is so contradicting to executive protection and disaster planning and, you know, how do I approach this device and potentially disarm it? You have to think and prepare. But personal life, I never really sat down and went like 5 years, I'm going to have a kid. I'm going to get married. I'm going to go live here. I never really thought about that. It was always just the mission of what's next. What's a little bit more challenging than it's almost like a drug person, a drug addict's high. It's that wasn't enough this time. Like that didn't have the same effect as before. I need something more.
What do you think it is that drives? I'm going to make a generalization and people can debate me in the comments, but why is it that high achievers seem to so often not think about their own future? They plan, they strategize, they do so much professionally and so little personally. They don't realize that they were absentee parents until their kids graduate high school. They don't realize that they were a bad husband or a wife until after the divorce. Like, why? Why do people of ambition seem to miss the importance of planning their personal life?
I'm really interested to see what the comments are going to be, because there's some people way smarter than me about this that will probably have some scientific evidence-based data. Okay, cool. We have data. Personally, I've been reflecting on this a lot, trying to problem solve that, looking into personality types. I think personally for me, and I don't say this as a scapegoat or as a cop-out answer. I say it because that's where my thought process is right now until I get more information to make a better determination. I think for myself, I was so busy solving other people's problems or assisting other people that I never took time to sit down and reflect on my own self. And I don't mean it in a hippie sort of sit down and meditate and reflect, but even sitting down like on a Sunday morning and going, what did I accomplish this week? There's a few questions you should ask yourself. One of them is, was it a productive? It depends on how you define productive. Did I spend time with loved ones? Did I add value to my life and to the people that I love? Normally it's did I add value to the company that's paying me to be away from those that I love? And so I've been spending probably the last couple of years reflecting more on my decisions. I've not come to a conclusion to say this is why we do that. I'm very interested in what that is.
Yeah.
Have you heard of a company called, or a website called Self-Authoring?
No.
I'll send you a link to it. The short story is a group of, I think, psychologists got together and they basically made baseball cards for employees.
Huh.
So like car salesmen will do this. They'll have certain color codes, personality types, essentially. Like, oh, I know you're an E, not an I.
Yeah.
You're better suited for this role over here because you'll be happier and more productive. So they made baseball cards for a particular company that had hired them, and it was actually really fruitful work that they did. Fast forward a few years later, they've got a website called selfauthoring.com that's about you. You can do it about past, present, and future, and it asks you questions. And it only works if you answer the questions honestly.
Of course.
And you don't send the questions to anybody else. It's all for you can share it if you want. Those questions, they humble me. They make you really, like, you made a decision about this, why?
Yeah.
And you have to look deep to figure out, like, I don't know why I made that decision. Like, that was the outcome might have been good, but the logic behind making it was dumb. So I'm interested in the comments because I really want to understand that.
And it's interesting to me because I've had the privilege now since leaving CIA to train, coach, guide all sorts of very successful people who are centimillionaires, people who are lead executives, people who are active in government, people who are active in foreign governments. Like I've had this incredible opportunity to meet some very ambitious, high achieving people. And I'm always shocked when I find one of a few things. First, when high achieving people get fat. No high achieving person, no ambitious person starts fat, but they let their body go in pursuit of their ambition.
Yes.
And then at some point they wake up and realize, oh shit,
this happened.
Yeah. And how do I get rid of this? Especially now that they're at the peak of whatever they're trying to do, right? They're working 80-hour weeks. Now, how do I get rid of this? Right? Substance abuse. They become addicted to anything from cocaine to wine, right? And then they find themselves unable to sleep without their substance, unable to focus without their substance, living from substance intake to substance intake. These aren't bad people. Like these could be, these are the champions of industry. These are the people that we all wish we could be, like behind closed doors. And what we don't realize is that behind their closed doors, the way they make it off of 3 hours of sleep a night is because they take an upper in the morning and a downer at night. And it's because it takes a box of wine or a bottle of wine, or it takes, a couple hits of cocaine for them to get through
Absolutely
the next moment, right?
Yeah.
You've got the people who get divorces. I don't know how many clients I've had who are on their second or third spouse. And once, I swear to you,
here it comes.
I swear to you, after about age 55, all they talk about is their first spouse. And the person who married them before they were anything special, and how genuine that person was compared to, spouse number 2, spouse number 3, et cetera, et cetera.
It's a bit of a stereotype, but it's pretty accurate.
It's fascinating because you learn, for me personally, working with those people, I've had a chance to work with people like this since I was about 40 years old. I mean, I have my whole future shaped by the lessons they've learned. And it's incredible to me. I get to bring a lesson home that I worked on with a client. I get to bring it home to my wife and say, hey, I was just working with so-and-so, and here's what they said, and here's what they learned about themselves, and how do I make sure that doesn't happen to me?
Yeah.
Right? And how do I make sure that doesn't happen to us? And it's just incredible. Anything from like parenting to, wealth management to personal health and fitness. It's just incredible. I was on a run the other day. I'm training for my first half Ironman. And I was on a run the other day. I was in Gold Coast, Australia.
Very beautiful.
Beautiful
Very
place.
Beautiful.
Beautiful place. It's their fall, transitioning from their summer. And I had a 4.5 mile run that morning, along with a bike ride and a swim. And I was exhausted, right? I'm coming back the last mile and a half of that 4.5 mile run. And the weather kicks in off the coast. And the rain starts, and it's a cold rain, and the wind starts, and it's a wind from north to south, so it's blowing me backwards. And it's these strong sustained gusts. So you're just like, this sucks. I mean,
it's like a parachute on your back running.
And I've been exercising for like 2.5 hours, and I just want to be done. And I'm cold, and I'm wet, and my fucking shoes are soggy, and like I've got chafage in my thighs from like where the bike shorts created roughness, and then the running shorts exacerbated it, and now everything's wet, and I'm just like, this sucks. And this is a training run, not even a long one. This is just a training run. And I had this moment where my mind shifted, and I owe it all to some of these people that I've had a chance to coach. And I realized, wait a second, I don't have to do this. I get to do this. And I get to do this on the coast of Australia in between training sessions. And I get to do this with this incredible ocean. And then I started just turning on my senses instead of turning on my feelings. I started turning on my 5 senses. And then I could smell the salt water. And I could feel the droplets of the rain as it hit my soaking wet running shirt. And I could feel like the soft plunk under the shirt against my skin. I could hear the tink of the rain as it hit the wet outside of the shirt. I could feel like the sogginess in my feet. I could feel the cold wind on my knees. Like I could hear the seagulls, and I could hear the crashing waves. And just focusing on the senses instead of on my feelings got me through the rest of that run, and made it so that when I finished that run, I was like, it was overwhelming gratitude. That's all I could feel. Thank you for this incredible planet. Thank you for this incredible opportunity. Thank you for whatever the fuck happened in my life that made it so that when I'm 44 years old, at what is arguably the peak or the cresting peak of my career, I have the fitness to be training for a triathlon. Because if I didn't have that fitness, I wouldn't be out there running. I wouldn't be having those experiences. I wouldn't be having that moment of gratitude.
No. That's another really profound thing, to recognize that you're operating off emotions and make the active conscious switch to my surroundings.
Yeah.
Emotions are just emotions. Like, they don't make good decisions. Like, they call them emotional decisions for a reason, right? They're normally not based on sound logic, whether they turn out true or not. So that was something in dive training that we focused on. Was, we never did a run or a swim that was pleasurable. And they would tell you it's not going to be pleasurable. They're preparing you mentally that this is going to be challenging. There's no secrets about it. And the people that were emotional about it, well, I don't want to do something that's challenging, wet, and cold, they'll leave the program. Those that go, yeah, we expect it to be uncomfortable. It is what it is. It's the chase of going, I just did this experience. What's next? That I've yet to figure out how that separates people. Like, the difference of myself and other family members. Why do I feel this way or think this way? I'm very less, like, my mom might say that I'm a bit cold and emotionalist. She knows I love my children and I love her with passion and that I'm present, but I'm also very able to make a quick decision and stand by that decision.
Freedom! So fresh, so